Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the Screenwriting Step-by-Step Project, episode 250. My name is Glenn Gers, and I come to you every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Zone, to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script in order to teach a part of the screenwriting process that I think is under-taught, which is the day-to-day, scene-by-scene process, the work of writing it. Not what makes it a great script, not what is the universal truth of storytelling, not what's going to sell, just how do you get from ideas and thoughts into an outline, into a rough draft, into a readable draft. That is the only thing I am trying to demonstrate here by showing you how I figured out how to do it in my 25-year career. Working in TV and movies, on my way out of the business, I thought I should show you the tricks and techniques that I had to figure out for myself so that you can try them out. See if they work for you. If they work for you, use them. If they don't, do not. This is not the right way. This is not the best way, not the only way. It's just some things that might help you. Walk you through this, what I'm doing, in case it's helpful when you are facing the blank page. But truthfully, you've got to figure out what works for you. There is no right or wrong. Every artist has to figure out their process. So take what you can from this. You do not have to watch 250 hours to get the idea. Drop in anytime, look at a little of it. You'll get the idea of how I am trying to solve particular problems. And that's all this is. This is just letting you watch me solve particular problems. Because most of the writing problems, they're pretty common. All types of writing scripts tend to have the same problems. Doesn't matter if you're writing a sci-fi script or a web series or something, you still have to figure out how to make scenes work, how to get characters to express themselves, how to make the thing move faster, stuff like that. The main stuff I have to teach you is actually here on my channel in the first 3 playlists, which are called Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools, Skills, and Craft, and the process, being a writer. This is a little screenshot of the first 3 playlists on my channel, Writing for Screens. That's where you can find the stuff that I actually think is most useful. I've tried to take a topic like genre or flashbacks or dramatic action and reduce it down to 10 minutes of useful techniques and insights and tips. That's what these videos are. They are short, they are to the point, I think they are useful, and I beg you to watch those if you have a question. If you are wondering about stuff, the title of the video gives you an idea what it's about. It's there in the thumbnail, great big words with great big colors so that you could just say, oh, I'd like to see what he thinks about flashbacks. There you go. 10 minutes. Boom, boom, done. Take it, do with it what you will. Hello, this is Kitschy. Hello, Donna. Hello, Dima. Hello, Nathan. Thank you very much, Dina. And hi, the Pook student. Yo, yo, yo. Great, everybody's here. Let's try and get this. What I'm doing now is just spending some time showing you how I personally would write kind of a summary, what I'm calling a pitch document. You could call it a summary document. Some people call it a Bible, although it's not really a Bible. So let's just open that up. Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you. Hi, Larry. Gosh, lots of people here today. So what I'm doing here is excellent. Everyone should be doing writing. I am very glad to hear that you did that, Jonathan. Every bit of writing is good. Okay. What I'm doing now is just writing brief descriptions of each major character. Hey! Hello. Hi, Maria. That is not, this is not the This is not the live stream you were looking for. Hi, Gene. Okay, we got to ban Sexy Find Pro. Okay, you are out of here. There we go. Good. It should write. It should. You are doing the right thing, Jonathan. I am very glad that you are doing some writing. Brainstorm on one screen, Glenn on another, 7-3 write another. That's good, Kitschy. Jonathan, Kitschy, all of you should just be writing. Okay, yes, admittedly, Dondowski does not fit the pattern. It was just a funny name. You are absolutely right. Furthermore, good point, we don't have one named Ted. So, Ted Zygmunt. Okay. Yeah, it would have been funnier if I had gotten it out snappier. I was not on the ball there. But cool. Well, Jonathan, Kitschy, all of you who are writing at the same time you're watching this, cool, good for you. I am glad. I personally can't listen to something and write something, but if you can, bless you, do it. Do your thing. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just trying to write a very quick character summary for each character. Now, the form I have chosen, it's not the only form. It's not the right form. I'm not saying I would, even do it for every single pitch doc I am doing. But for this one, I decided I would do this little italicized kind of fortune cookie version of their character, which is like, if, how would you summarize this person if you had to give one shot of their overall story? And then some details on who they are, and maybe in this case, what their purpose is in the story, what their story is. So I'm just going through, and for instance, for Elms, I don't have a story yet. I don't have a thing for him yet. And then for Carol, I definitely don't have for Carol Shrimpton. Oh yeah, and let's just mention while we're at it, Nathan, Carol Shrimpton is not a DP either. I should probably change her name. So I do not know what some of these stories is. Yeah, you see, this one is good. This one I don't have yet. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the ones I don't have yet in pink so that I can't miss them, so that I cannot say to myself, oh yeah, that's done, because it's not. All right. So I've got McLean, yes. Okay, Madeline and Norman, that's a topic for another time, isn't it? Deacons. Yeah, Deacons is in pretty good shape. Xena is too long. Xena is too long. So I'm going to have to think about that. Because everybody else I've brought down. So, that's good. That's some cuts. Cuts are good. Yeah, DP, at least in the world of cinema or filmmaking, DP stands for Director of Photography. There are other meanings to that which are pornographic and we will not get into. Oh, I didn't know that he did that, but it doesn't surprise me. Scorsese loves to do documentaries, especially on musicians and filmmakers. So cool. I would think that would be great. Hi, Blaine. How are you? Good to see all of you. Okay, so I'm just trying to cut. Now, here's the thing. Oops. I'm just looking for cuts. In case you were wondering, I'm just looking for... So the question is, this is long, but it's true. You know, do I need it though? You know what? I don't think we need it right here. I'm going to cut it. Yeah, for the moment, this is all about just getting a quick idea of characters at the moment. I'm not getting into every single thing. I'll put this down in the themes, although I have to tell you, I'm not sure if I'm going to even include all these themes, because here's the thing about themes and summaries and stuff. So much of what I have to say here is not in the work. It's not in the script. And the question is, these were things I wrote to myself, and at what point do I have to say, okay, you know, this may be my ambition, but the truth is what I'm working with is not talking about that stuff yet. So I'm not sure that any of this will be worth keeping, this theme stuff. Not for the proposal. Okay, yes. Cinematography is a subscience of photography. Yes, I suppose that's true. Yeah, director of photography is just the old name of cinematographer. Hello, Gerardo. Good to see you. Doc really shows the Scorsese document on Val Lewton. Yes, low budgets, tight scripts. Indeed, I would believe that. Scorsese stuff is much more about being an overall filmmaker, not being a writer. But for those of you who are interested in being a filmmaker, you cannot go wrong by listening to Scorsese. He does know an awful lot. He's not the only person you should listen to, but you should definitely listen to him. And yes, he's complaining about Marvel. He's not wrong about, not Marvel, by the way, particularly. He's talking about the general trend of the business to only making big tentpole type projects, and he's right about that. He's not right to trash things, but he's not really. I don't believe he is. I believe he is frustrated by the way that one genre or subcategory of film has taken over the entire business. Okay. So let me get these. Okay, so this is something that I have to decide. I have to decide how to use that. But for the moment, I'm just going to do that. See, if I put it in pink, it means you're not done yet. You're not done with this. All right. Yeah. Okay, so these characters are good. Yes, I am sure that none of these guys, none of these people are slouches in the I know what I'm doing department. They are all worth listening to. Okay. So let's for the moment, let's finish. Sometimes the work is just getting pieces of the work done. Today I'm going to just try and get these characters done. Okay, so the most grounded and mentally healthy of the crime crackers. Let's see, okay. So what is her story? Oh, for gosh sakes. Okay, I got you banned. You are gone. Okay, there we go. All right, well, see, here's the question. See, I am doing this live stream to teach you guys something, and teaching you the same thing over and over again is not particularly helpful. You know that what I'm doing is like the question of figuring out each character's arc for the entire series is kind of wasteful of time. I am not going to worry about making. I am not going to really completely figure out the entire arc of every character for an entire series in order to suggest to you or show you how you write the summary of a character. I'm just going to do the quick summary of what I do know, because that will be fine. I'm not actually having to create an entire series here. Hi, Thumper. Sometimes I get lost in the work and the ideal of the work, which is it is not necessarily good teaching to show you every single detail of a process, because by the time I'm done with that, too many of you have not seen the important stuff. The important stuff is the basic principles, which you can then apply to every detail. All right, so often the voice, the group's voice of common sense reality. Okay, that's her big picture. I used the great miracle called the internet and the opportunity to ask my question from. Go for it. Go for it. That's cool. I often don't do anything new because I don't want to repeat myself. There's nothing worse than me repeating an old joke or an anecdote from other films, and this slows me down a lot in the process of writing a script for comedy films. How not to repeat your style so that new film looks fresh? This is an interesting question. And a fair one, but and this is really true so many times. If you look, and I mean this for all of us, and I mean it for me included, 9 times out of 10, the way you phrase a question contains the answer. This is true. For instance, you're saying how not to repeat your style from script to script so the film looks new and fresh. The point is, why would you want to do that? Why would you want, like, if you think about the artists that you like, do they actually have a different style and everything? No, not usually. Most people develop their voice, their style, and they continue to work variations of that within their voice. their style, their attitude, and their particular way of working. Even Mel Brooks, who, he would do a science fiction movie, then a horror movie, then a Hitchcock takeoff, but they were all basically the same thing, which is sort of Mel Brooks does this genre, that genre, this genre. If you really think about it, the world does not want you, does not want an artist to be completely unrecognizable from piece to piece. They want to say, I want to go see a Monet because I know what a Monet looks like. I want to see his latest Monet. All right. I not to say I personally have a problem because I like so many different styles that to me it's kind of a challenge to try and be different often. But I recognize that that's actually bad for business. The truth is, you don't want to, when you say repeating an old joke or another anecdote from other films, well, yeah, sure, that's different. To say I'm not going to repeat the same joke in several scripts, yeah, that's fair. Don't do that. Or if you do it in such a way that it's disguised in a new form, because many people do that. Most comedians and artists have a way of doing things, and then they'll do that with different clothes on it, with different, the basic formula of their approach is often the same, even if they are attending to different topics or in different situations. So I don't even think that that's necessarily the worst thing. The main thing is, I think, you do not want to repeat work from another of your own. So in other words, you can't just take the same joke and put it in 2 or 3 scripts. However, but to say like if you're doing an action director, and you make films, there's basically like, how many different ways can you do a cool car chase or a cool fight? And they'll work on that, like John Woo or famously William Friedkin. Well, not famously, but I know that William Friedkin became very famous for The French Connection. And in The French Connection, there was a groundbreaking car chase, which was truly exceptional for its time and still pretty neat. However, like 8 films later, he decided, everyone loved my car chase last time. I'm going to do a new car chase. What can I do? And so he did a new car chase with a different twist. But it was still just basically cops in a car chase. That's fine. It's not a crime. It's not a problem. Very often you'll be like, oh, well, how are they going to do this thing they do so well, but in a new way? I don't believe that, that you need to be totally unique from script to script. The other thing about from script to script is you're assuming that anyone gives a damn about any of us writers script to script. Like they are saying, oh, what's the evolution of this writer? Screenwriters are a dime a dozen, and most people don't even know if they wrote another script. They're reading a script to see, is this particular script workable for our business plan? That's what people read for. Actors read it for, hey, how does this part make me look? Is this part good for me? Directors, look at it as, hey, is this good for me to direct? They don't look at it and say, I would direct this. He did that same thing in a different script. They don't care. First of all, most writers are lucky if they get 2 scripts made, honestly. So I just wouldn't worry about it. For your personal, the idea that anyone would be looking at a screenwriter and comparing their scripts to each other to see if they are advancing is a lovely thought, but it is not an accurate representation of what anyone does with scripts. They sometimes do it for directors. However, you should be so lucky. That's a problem you should have. If the worst thing that happens is you've made enough films that someone can say, gee, you're not really developing a new style every time, that would be a great problem to have. Don't let it slow you down, Dima. Just write whatever you think is going to be the funniest version of the comedy you are trying to write. Make it as good as you can. Everybody every writer, every artist reuses some parts of their own approach. They don't reuse the exact same lines, but they will take the same attitude because they are the same brain. They are approaching the light world in the same way and saying, what am I going to do with this specific situation? You know, and that's what we look for. How will Hitchcock handle the romantic thriller set in Monte Carlo? Oh, how will Hitchcock handle the one set in, you know, with the priest in Montreal? You know, it's still like, what are they going to do with it? Not, I wonder if this is recognizable from their other work. Nobody worries about it. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, that's all lovely. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's really it. That's the way that they judge your script is whether it's to their advantage. They are not spending any time worrying about you and your artistic progress. Okay, so the answer is, Dima, don't worry about it. Don't spend your time thinking about how people will judge you. Think about whether or not you think the work you are doing in this particular script is satisfying in itself. If you can do that and you have spare time and you want to think about how we can make it different from the last one, cool, do that. But that should be the last thing on your list of things to worry about. I often don't do anything because I don't want to repeat myself. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Also, if you write a script and it does not succeed and no one really reads it, and then you write this basically the same script over again but better, cool. Because unless that one got made, you're fine. And even if it got made, honestly, most people honestly, in professional work, most people, they come to you and say, oh, you did this thing. And if you are so lucky that it's a hit, they say, can you do that again? They don't say, hey, can you do something different? I promise you, no one is saying that. All right. You are entirely welcome. It was a good question. Lots of fun. All right. Let's see. So, she web sleuths as a hobby to distract, to take her mind off escape and take her mind off her job, where very bad stuff has no to blame or stop. Okay. So let's change this into text. She web sleuths, is that a word? Kinda, as a hobby. To escape and take her mind, to take her mind off her job. That's all we need. Take her mind off her job. Her job as a chemotherapy nurse, where very bad stuff happens every day with no supervillain to blame or fight. That's good. That's good. Okay. When COVID started, just a little story to make you feel better about being an artist. When COVID started, I read a a post on social media by a friend of mine who works in independent film production. And she wrote that with the world in such a crisis, she kind of felt guilty that her job was so frivolous, being a production assistant on dumb, horror movies and stuff. And she had a friend who was a nurse, who was on the front line in the worst of COVID. And she said, like, I can't believe I'm complaining when you're, every day you are literally risking death to help other people. And then, and the nurse said, at the end of my workday, I come home and I want to turn on my TV and escape and relax and unwind. And somebody has to do that job for me so that I look forward to that escape. And that really hit me hard, because I thought, wow, I don't want to ennoble art over nursing, because I truly believe that when it comes down to it, art is a luxury. It's disposable. It's something we're very lucky we can even think about. So therefore, to be reminded that the reason that we have it, the reason that it is a big business, is because people use it as they use alcohol and drugs and a lot of other things to feel better when their life is hard. And that is actually not a crappy thing to do. That can be a pretty good thing to do, especially if you do it well, and if you are not creating more despair in your work. That's just my take. Thank you, Beck. I appreciate that so much. Really, thank you. Stuff like that really makes this worth doing. Anyway, so the point is, Carol Shrimpton's reality was partly inspired by that thought, that a lot of times people do things because their work is hard, because their life is hard, and that's legit. Okay, so do I need this as a hobby? Yeah. But when game becomes real, she mourns the others. She quits a voice of reason among the chaotic enthusiasm for hunting killers. Okay. Game becomes real, she quits. A voice of reason among the chaotic. Now, what I want to say is, at least at the moment, yeah, no, and truthfully, it really isn't a real job, but it doesn't mean it's not a worthwhile job. Although, actually, I got to tell you, when it comes to being a job, when you're actually getting paid for it, man, is it a job with like human resources and tax papers to fill out and hours to put in, and it I promise you, it's a job. Okay. And the thing is that most people aspire to it because they don't recognize what a job it actually is. Okay. Uh, her strength and power in the story is that she never gives up being okay. So, but when the game becomes real, she quits, returning to the story only because later, her power in the story is that she never gives up being a voice of reason amid the chaotic enthusiasm for hunting killers. That's good. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. We have got another one. Another one bites the dust. Let's see. Madeline and Norman, Deacon Zena. Madeline and Norman is actually a subcategory of those two characters, so I'm going to put it up by them. Donna. Yes, this is all true. The only thing I think is important is for artists to also get some perspective, because artists tend to be remarkably self-centered and arrogant. They go two ways. Artists are either way too shy and retiring and vulnerable, or they, especially here in Los Angeles, man, do they inflate their own importance. so now and then, I try to keep some perspective, because people in the entertainment business especially tend to work really hard to justify their value, and that can get painful if you spend too much time with them. A personal problem of mine, I am sure, that I get tired of people telling me how they're saving the world by making, bad rom-coms. Okay. All right, Elms. Got nothing for you. Let's think very briefly. Very briefly about Mr. Elms, because the thing I don't remember is how I ended up regarding his yeah, like I said, my personal take on that. There is no question that art is a value. Like, societies without art of some form tend to be bad. So yeah, I would go with you on that. Okay. Police detective. Okay. He has no romance. I want to say no. crime-solving professional who does not romanticize. Yeah, go for it. Not a problem. Okay, this is a way too long way of saying this, but at least I get it. Just can't see myself as an artist. I rationalize my art as a hobby. That's cool. That's the thing. This is a good question, point, issue, thing to discuss, which is, yes, you should lean into it because art, you can be an artist whether or not you are a hobbyist or professional, a great artist or not. You are an artist. That is actually like truly. And I get into this sometimes with some friends. The definition of an artist is a person who does art. That's it. There is no, like, I will brook no argument on this one. A lot of people are like, well, they're not a real artist. They don't make money, or they don't have a big audience, or they're not changing the world. No, a person is an artist if they do art. If they do any creative endeavor, they're an artist. And there are important reasons why you should recognize that in yourself, because the thing you're doing requires you to have some consciousness that you're doing it, that in doing it you are taking on certain things. Just like if you say, oh, I'm not really an athlete, but you're running, it actually behooves you to consider athletes and yourself as an athlete, because you could find out, like, well, athletes would know, don't use this kind of shoe because it's going to hurt your knees. so therefore it's useful, it's worthwhile to consider yourself an artist if you do art at all, because you are. Blaine, you definitely are an actual working real artist if you create artworks. That's it. How good you get at it is a separate question, and not necessarily an important one. But the more that you take on the fact that if you do art, you are an artist, that legitimizes any interest you show in it, any pride you take in it, but especially in your need to learn about it, to do it as well as you can or want to. That's legit. There is a like to say, it's interesting. I rationalize my art as a hobby. Brave enough to lean into it. Well, this is the thing. This is what I was talking to Donna about, that same thing. It's as if saying you're an artist is some kind of weird swagger. It's not. An artist is a hobby. It is an activity. It is a type of person. It's all of those things, and it doesn't put you on one team or the other. It doesn't put you in a hierarchy. It doesn't. You're not in a competition. You're just a person doing a thing, and you should take that thing seriously, just like you should take, like if you were taking a hobby seriously. Cool. You should. You should not feel that it is a matter of bravery to say you are an artist. If you just write stuff down and make stories up and write them down, you are an artist. Even if no one ever reads it, you are still an artist. Even if no one ever likes it when they do read it, doesn't make you not an artist. So that's really worth crossing that line, because the question then, like I said, the answer is almost always in the question. What about it would require bravery? See, that's the interesting issue. Why do we think it is either shameful or arrogant or in some way getting above yourself or in some way putting yourself above others? Or what about being an artist seems like it inspires judgment or antagonism or anything like that? Many people, you'll be in a community where you would be mocked for saying you were an artist, but that's their problem. They're wrong. They're wrong. And frankly, if the question then is, would they mock any less if you said, well, as a hobby, I paint, or as a hobby, I write, epic novels? I would imagine that people would still think that was weird. So therefore, you don't gain anything by not calling yourself an artist. But if you do call yourself an artist, you can pursue artistic groups or artistic websites or places where people share their thoughts, and that's not a bad thing. So I don't know. That's a thought. Sometimes I come up with something so brilliant, just good, that I don't want to use it now and I put it off till better times. No, these are all, once again, is it worth taking this into work right now? Yes. Well, I mean, look, I don't know. What's work? Taking it into work. Putting it into your work? Yeah, don't wait. First of all, once again, suppose you write something and it's just brilliant and you write it in a script, but you're not good enough or your career is not in a place where it's going to get anywhere. So that sits in a drawer. You can use it again later. As long as it doesn't get professionally distributed, it's yours to use until you get it right. Not a problem. In general, I would say whenever you have the question, should I put this off or hold on to it till better times? The answer is never yes. Never. The answer is always, my answer is always going to be I think I have this written down somewhere. Let me see. Do what you can with, here it is. Boom. Do what you can as who you are with what you have right now. In other words, if all you've got is some crayons and lined notebook paper and you want to draw a card, make your graphic novel, use that and do that. And by the way, you should look at, hold on. Hang on. All right. Okay. Look at this. This book is amazing. Okay, this book, it's called My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris. Okay, it's this phenomenal graphic novel, and it is done entirely. It's this autobiographical graphic novel done entirely with pen and ink on lined paper. Look at that. It is freaking amazing. Look at that, just like pencil and pen and lined paper. Okay? Amazing work, which she did, by the way, in tremendously difficult physical health. So my point is, don't wait for anything. Just do what you can as who you are with what you have right now. That is my answer to everything. Oh, sorry. Colin. Hello, Colin. Although I can't say I view what I do as a hobby, but I don't necessarily. Well, professional writing is different. See, this is the tricky thing. Professional. Professional means paid. In theory, yeah. I mean, like in theory, what if you sold one short story a year to a literary magazine? Which honestly, what do they pay? Like $25, $100. Like, so you're not making a living at it, but you're still a professional. You got paid, right? This definition of professional artist is crazy talk. It just is. If your profession means you make the preponderance of your money, like your living, what pays your bills is art, a lot of well-known novelists and poets and painters are not professional. because they actually make their living as teachers or whatever it is else they do. And we're talking about people who have like publishing contracts with real, publishers and everything. Professional writing is professional art of any kind is a very small part of being an artist. Okay. Most artists do not make a living. I think I even have this one written down. Hold on. Art is a terrible business. Okay. Don't worry about it. That's not the point. The point is what you are an artist if you are doing art. Whether you are a professional artist is a separate thing. For instance, if you're a poet, you're basically never going to make a living. I mean, like 0.1% of poets make their living writing poetry. I don't even, maybe 3, maybe 5. So that's that. All I can say is if you are spending your time worrying about calling yourself an artist, don't call yourself an artist. You are an artist. You may not be a professional artist. That's cool. Why would anyone assume that just because that's like saying, okay, if you like to play tennis and you play tennis after work, okay, is it bothering you that you're not a professional tennis player, that you're not a professional golfer if you like golf? That's crazy talk. That why would you bother to add that layer of judgment and competition into a thing that you are doing because you do it? That's just weird. Art is either a job or a hobby. I disagree. Luckily, we are both allowed to have our opinions. But art as a job is a whole weird subset of art. It's actually, art as a job is a very small part of art. And I can tell you, as someone who's had it as a job and who has met with people who are well-regarded literary novelists, and they say to me, man, I so envy you for being able to make your living at writing. And I said to them, I so envy you because I don't get to choose what I write. Because I make my living, I have to take orders and it's a job and I clock in and clock out. And you get to write what you want, but you don't make your living at it. Weird. Maria is right. You put it in the scrap pile. That is regarding what if you come up with something so brilliant that you don't want to use it now? If that happens, do indeed put it in the scrap pile. Maria is referring to my video, Brainstorming and Scrap Piles. And the idea that if you think of anything, write it down and put it in a place where you put all your character ideas in one place and all your story ideas in another place and all your joke ideas in another. Make little folders and keep them all in one place that is organized and that you can always say, oh, let me think about characters, and go and look at your character list. Sometimes that will inspire a whole story. But my point is, if it's so brilliant, use it. Use it as soon as you can. Art can be a hobby, and your hobby can be art. Absolutely. It seems that I am not ready for this idea yet, and sometime later I will be. Well, that's good too. Don't throw it away. Thank you, Jean. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Damn right, Blaine. That is the right, you have to, no matter what anyone says about you, and you may choose, and I don't know what anybody's circumstances are. It can be that the way you will be treated if you tell people that you do this creative thing is actually dangerous or unpleasant or just not good for your mental health. Don't do it. Keep it secret. That's fine. I'm not saying you have to make a big deal out of it. I'm just saying that you should not feel shamed if you genuinely like it and if you're willing to pay the price of of telling people you do it, which is, and this is the price that every artist has all the time, some people will like it and some people won't. Most people won't get it. Most people won't be interested. That is the truth of being an artist. Okay? Okay. When it comes to topics you may not have a good grasp of, or perhaps you're looking for inspiration, or you're trying to do world building, how do you approach your research? As in, if you're writing an epic story or a screenplay. Couple things about research. The first is, I would say, we are living in some ways the golden age of research. You can learn more. You can do more research now from anywhere than you ever could in the history of humankind. People never used to have the access to stuff. Now, there's still a lot of stuff that isn't on the internet. Do not be fooled by the internet. It will say everything's here. It's not. But one thing you can do is you can very often find copies of books, used books at low prices that you can get shipped to you, so that the stuff that you can't read on the internet is in these books, because books tend to have the repository of centuries of knowledge and thought, and the internet has whatever's on the internet at the moment. You can find good stuff on the internet, but it's not the only resource. On the other hand, damn, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. So I would say start with the internet, Jonathan. Start by making a list of things you want to learn about, and then start searching. So look for videos, look for articles, look for pictures, look for, and whatever you get, write down what you find useful. Always write it down. Always write everything down. Write it down. The work comes when it has a place to go. If you find an interesting thing about, alleyways in Victorian London, write it down. If you, whatever it is, I don't know what kind of world you're building. All I would say is, when you're world building, do remember the purpose of world building is to create a world for your story. And so do try and get an idea of your story while you're doing your research. But the answer is, how do you approach research? Libraries, internet. That's it. Just look. When the people at Pixar were doing Finding Nemo, they watched a lot of video of fish. They just said, how do fish move? How does seagrass move? What does light look like in water? If you are building a place where, a socialist utopia, research socialism and utopias. If you're building a place where robots have taken over the world, research robots. That's all I can say is there is no shortage of ways to get information. Just look. Just go look on. Well, thank you, Donna. Okay. Thank you, Maria. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Used books. Alibris, Alibris, is a good source. Amazon obviously has books, but it's nice if you can find places, smaller sources, just to try and balance the world ecology. Okay, so it looks like that's as far as I'm going to get today, but we've certainly gotten into a lot of interesting topics, and so tomorrow, let me just check my calendar. Tomorrow is free. I will be here. I will see you all tomorrow when we will continue this epic journey of our own. Until then, go write something.